Everybody, my name is John Fisher. Welcome to salesleads.tv. Yeah, I'm wearing the Federal Union shirt. I found it in the closet. You know, this company started in 1990 with the name Federal Union. I liked it because it sounded like a bank, a lead bank. It could still be a great name for a bank, Federal Union, right? But after the Super Bowl and watching one of my competitors and learning about the internet, I went ahead and started Sales Leads. What a great keyword. And .tv, obviously, because I watched the Super Bowl, but that's a whole different story. So here's what I'm doing. When you advertise on the internet, you have certain guidelines, and you have search engine optimization. You got Google as the sheriff, and you can do this, you can't do that. You know, they got the Google updates and this update and that. And they make it pretty tough for a guy like me, who's a one-man operation. Plus a couple of my supports, my manager and my IT guy. I pretty much do this myself for the simple reason that the people out there doing SEO, they'll rip you off. I'm telling you. I had one guy. Well, it's a different story. Anyway, so I do this myself, and constantly evolving. I've done very, very well for a long time, caveman, and it worked real well. But it's gotten a little sophisticated right now, so I got to shift. You know what? I mean, that's life, man. Life's all about shifting. So I want to do this. I've been around for 32 years doing this particular business, so I think I've got some intelligence. And, looking at what's out there and looking at, all the available information that's out there and using some programs that'll give you as much information as possible. We're going to do a little game here. We're going to take my intelligence and match it up against their intelligence and see who's the smarter. So maybe just, we complement each other. And I've done this before, and it's worked out pretty well. The key word I'm looking for is oil and gas investors. And, I started this business and nothing but oil and gas guys. And now that the present administration has pretty much killed the oil and gas industry, and don't even get me going, because it's just really, really bad. I mean, as an American, to see, us begging for oil from Saudi Arabia and from Russia, knowing how much oil we had, knowing that the orange guy had us totally independent. I mean, it was great. I was so proud that we were independent. No one had us by the you-know-whats, and now all of a sudden we're begging. And then, I was in the Army for 6 years, using our petroleum reserves for the war, God forbid, that he's almost gotten us into, to win an election. I mean, it's just disgusting, but don't even get me started. By the way, I've got a lot of good websites. I'm not going to get political. I'm going to get in trouble. I already have problems. I'm definitely a vocal guy. So the oil and gas investor, here's the research I have found out there on the oil and gas. Oil and gas investors are individuals or entities that invest in companies involved in exploration, developmental, production, distribution of oil and gas. These investments can take many forms, including direct ownership of an oil and gas well, partnerships, interest in drilling programs, and investments in publicly traded oil and gas companies. Investing in oil and gas can offer investors the potential for high returns, as oil and gas prices can be volatile and subject to significant fluctuations. However, investing in oil and gas involves significant risks, including the risk of drilling, dry holes, and production operations, fluctuations in oil and gas prices, and regulatory and environmental risks. Hello? And some guy called Biden. Here are some of the common ways that investors can participate in the oil and gas industry. Direct ownership. Investors can directly own interests in oil and gas wells through partnerships or joint ventures with oil and gas companies. These investments can provide potential for significant returns, but also involve significant risk, including the risk of dry holes, poor well performance, and liability and environmental damages. So let me stop you. That whole direct ownership, yeah, I get that part. But the participation and partnerships, there's no more LLPs, there's no more general partnerships. We're talking about private placements. We're talking about Reg D 505, 506, and now you got the Reg D 506C. So the old Reg D 504 was $1 million or less, 505 1 to 5 million, 506 5 million plus. But the little B, letter B, those you have to have a pre-existing relationship, and those you have to have a 30-day cooling off period. A couple of years ago, they came out the Reg D 506C as in Charlie, and that one you could solicit. But the other ones, the B had a 50 non-accredited exemption, which is a headache, and now there's no exemption. So when you're using oil and gas or looking for oil and gas investors, keep in mind you should really punch in accredited oil and gas investors, because that's the only ones you could actually use. But let's keep going. Drilling program investors can also participate in drilling programs where a group of investors pool their money to finance the drilling and completion of a single well or a series of wells. These programs may be structured as limited partnerships, not anymore, limited liability companies, not intelligent, and typical involve significant upfront costs and risks. So let me give this intelligent program some intelligence. They don't make those anymore. There is no more limited partnerships, and there is no more, there may be, but they don't work. Limited liability, partnerships have gotten in a lot of trouble. The only way to go is a private placement. Oil and gas royalties. Investors can also purchase oil and gas royalties, which are the rights to receive and share in the revenue generated from oil and gas production from a specific property. Royalties are typically sold by individual landowners or mineral right owners and can offer a passive income stream, for others. It sounds more like a private, deal that you would do something like that. I've not heard of a lot of people marketing that kind of a program. Publicly traded companies, investors can also invest in publicly traded oil and gas companies through the stock market. These investments provide liquidity and diversification, but are subject to market risk and fluctuations in oil and gas prices. Agreed. When considering an investment in oil and gas, it's important that investors conduct their due diligence. Agreed. And understand that the risks involved. Investors should carefully review the company's financial statements, drilling history, production forecasts, regulatory compliance history. Investors should also consider the potential impact of market volatility and fluctuations in oil and gas prices in their investment. As per what we've seen right now, I mean, it's just, it's just crazy that you can't even acquire leases on, and they say, oh yeah, we have 9,000 leases that are available, and it's not true. And believe me, I know, because you know what? I would say at one point, 90% of my business was guys doing oil and gas. I would say it's down to 5 or 10% right now. I mean, it's really, really, really low. And only the strong survive. But I got to tell you something. If it wasn't for the fact that they own their own leases, they wouldn't be in business right now. It's terrible. It's also important for investors to consider the regulatory and environmental risks associated with oil and gas investments. Oil and gas industry is subject to a complex web of federal, state, yes, we know, and local regulations, and investors should be aware of this. Potential impact of these regulations on their investments, environmental risks, including risks of spills, leaks, and other accidents, can also have a significant impact on the financial performance of an oil and gas investment. So I got to tell you, I agree with that article for the most part. I do believe that the only vehicle that you could use for an oil and gas investment would be a private placement. And it would be a Reg D 506C. The leads usually go for 50 cents a piece. Client lists go for $5. The difference between the 50-cent lead and the $5 lead, one guy is a prospect. He's been vetted. Yeah, I'm accredited. I make $200,000 a year. I have $25,000 to $50,000 liquid risk capital. Yes, it's risk capital, and they mail them a private placement memorandum. So those are prospects. We don't have proof that they bought. They probably bought one time or another, but we don't have proof. And then we have the client list. Company goes out of business, and I buy their assets. I buy their prospect sheets, and then I buy the people that have, bought in the past. And those are touch and go. It depends. But, in the oil and gas business, there's a lot of dry holes, and sometimes people take a dry hole as, getting ripped off or, they're getting hurt. And, oil and gas is like, stepping up at bat and striking. You strike out. That's what it's about. It happens once in a while, and when you hit, you hit. So that's why they call it risk. If you have any questions whatsoever about the oil and gas investors, specifically accredited oil and gas investors, please call me. 561-239-0364, salesleads.tv, 8+ rating. with the BBB, we've been in business 32 years. I'm the only salesperson, and I appreciate your time. Have a beautiful day, and God bless.